Have you ever noticed how setting a simple, healthy boundary can sometimes feel like throwing a bomb into a room when you finally summon the courage to say no, or I cannot do this anymore? You expect relief, but instead, you are met with an explosion. You are hit with cold fury, guilt tripping, or a sudden, punishing silence. They accuse you of being selfish, of changing, of being heartless, and it leaves you lying awake in the dark, wondering if you are the one who did something wrong. But deep within, psychological dynamics, there is a brutal, unvarnished rule. The only people who get furious when you set boundaries are the exact people who profited from you having none. Look at the rain sliding down the cold iron railing. It flow wherever it wants because there is nothing to stop it. Some people in your life have treated your energy exactly like that rain. To them, your lack of boundaries wasn't an act of love. It was a convenience they felt entitled to. When you build a wall where there used to be a free highway, you haven't committed a crime. You have simply stopped a theft. Why does a healthy limit feel like an act of aggression to certain people? It is because of a toxic psychological phenomenon known as enmeshment. In healthy relationships, two people are like two distinct trees growing side by side, sharing the same soil, but holding separate trunks. But a manipulator craves a parasite dynamic. They confuse control with closeness and sacrifice with love. To a person with a high sense of psychological entitlement, your boundary is a direct threat to their ego. They don't hear, I need to protect my peace. They hear, you no longer control me. When you refuse to carry their emotional baggage, when you stop absorbing their chaos, you force them to look inward. You force them to sit with their own unhealed wounds and take responsibility for their own emotional mess. And they hate it. They would rather wage a war to tear down your boundary than do the painful internal work to fix themselves. They will try to manipulate your empathy. They will rewrite history, playing the victim in a tragedy they created. They want you to feel the agonizing burn of guilt. So you will tear down your walls just to make them comfortable again. But remember this, in the silence of the night, a boundary is not an insult to them. It is a sacred poem dedicated to yourself. There is a magnificent, quiet dignity in holding your ground. When you set a boundary, you are not trying to punish the other person or change their mind. You are simply establishing your property lines. You are defining where they end and where you begin. It takes an immense amount of emotional maturity to realize that you are not obligated to destroy your own mental health just to keep someone else stable. You do not need their permission or their understanding to lock your gate. Let them scream at the wall. Let them tell the world that you are cold and distant. Their anger is not proof that your boundary is wrong. It is the ultimate validation that your boundary was desperately needed. The fog around me is beginning to lift now, revealing the sharp, clean lines of the landscape. The blurred edges are gone. Soon, the sun will rise, and the world will return with its endless noise, its emotional demands, and its chaotic crowds. People will try to push past your limits, testing how much they can take from your soul. But you know the secret now. The next time someone throws a tantrum because you chose to protect your energy, do not argue, do not over-explain, do not lower your wall. Just stand completely still in your own light. Look them in the eye and let them sit with their anger, because your peace was worth far more than their comfort